who are we trying to woo into our plan giving program? What are the defining characteristics of the people who we're trying to invite in? On page 61, and that's a person who is well off, who has money, and maybe could benefit from some tax advantages. Person who's concerned about current income, and if you have too much income, you may want to do some creative things to reduce your income tax. Person who may want your charity or a bank or trustee to exercise management skills over their assets. That's another thing that a lot of people just don't want to have to worry about, and so they can give it to maybe a third party, a bank, to deal with it, maybe through a trust, things like that. Person who is unmarried or a widow or widower, where there are not any rightful heirs. Okay. Person who's married but without children. Person who has a tax problem. Person who's been a present or past donor to your organization. And boy, how many times have I heard about people who maybe just kind of give year in, year out, $25, $50 consistently, and when they die, they are, these organizations, their organization, their charity of choice is blessed with this death time windfall. Person who's older. A lot of times when you get one plan gift, you are very likely to get another plan gift if you prove to be a good steward of that first plan gift. Okay, and what does that mean? Thank you notes and stewardship reports. Person who has a programmatic tie. Person gives to annual giving, help an organization go. Capital giving, a major gift, help an organization grow. And legacy gifts, we want to have a conversation about maybe how they can give money at their death that will help create an endowment to institutionalize programs. And we can have named funds. And a lot of times people think a named endowment fund has more perpetuity than a building, because buildings kind of come and go. They're raised after so many years. That endowment fund stays there, so there's a little bit of longevity there, a little bit more of a sure thing. And it's just going to take most of the time. You may get a windfall surprise, but most of the time these things take a lot of time and attention and developing trust. When you're, wooing the prospect, informing the prospect, takes a lot of time. Common reasons why donors make plan gift, well, they're asked. Okay, remember, where does legacy giving fit within your strategic plan?
Your long-range
Yeah.
Top of the pew.
Yeah. Top. Yeah. Okay, now, I'm giving $1 million to an endowment. It's your university.
Give it to us.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to you. Give it to y'all.
That was easy.
That's
He asked.
children. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You didn't
Larry, don't be a weenie, Larry. Okay. Doug, I'm giving you $1 million. And by definition, an endowment, you can spend the derivative income, but you cannot spend the corpus, by definition. Okay. But let's just say that that $1 million goes through a recession, and that $1 million is worth only now $500,000.
That's called a depression for starters.
Yeah. Okay, so you can't spend the corpus, but you're already down. You know, you're upside down. So what happens? You want to be able to spend the 5% derivative income. Are you going to do it?
I have to come back and ask you for another $500,000.
Ooh, ooh, now I like that. There you go. That's gutsy.
First
I
of
like
all,
it.
you change your 5 down to 1 or 2.
Okay.
Yes. I would take less, yeah.
What I'm kind of going to is that was a dilemma, big dilemma in the recession, and there was this unified UMIFA that said there was law that said you can't spend, you know, the corpus, you can't spend it out.
Sure.
And then during the recession, they changed the law to read UPMIFA, from UMIFA to UPMIFA. And UPMIFA meant Uniform Prudential Management, which allowed institutions latitude to make a prudent decision, because when it's hardwired and you can't spend the corpus, they couldn't do it. And a lot of institutions were locked and couldn't give out scholarships and things like that, and it was badly affecting a lot of prominent institutions. But they changed the law to UPMIFA, and that allowed wise, good, prudent managers to make a decision that, okay, we are going to spend some of this derivative income to keep the student body whole and keep it going.
I like Larry's idea, just say 1 or 2 instead of 5.
Yeah, exactly. But they did make that legal change as a result of the recession.
But also, I think you would agree that any endowment worth its salt that would have lost 50% of its principal is not invested fiduciarily prudently. And because, you know, we use 3 different investment firms, and you're always trying to average that out.
Yeah.
Although you're still going for the long-term situation. But everybody took a hit.
Everybody took a hit, but during the recession, and particularly in Atlanta, you know, when Coke gets hit, you know,
Is that right?
and like the Woodruff Foundation, they have it wired that they're only Coke, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that, you know, and you kind of live by the sword, die by the sword, but, you know, yeah. And even for the longest time, Emory, when it took Coke stock, didn't want to do anything with the stock. They didn't want to sell to diversify, and because, you know, they didn't want to slap the hand that was feeding them. But Emory did decide that they needed to, it would be only wise to diversify. But that was a big, tumultuous move on Emory's part when they made that decision.
When we take appreciated stock or funds or anything, that same day we liquidate it.
Yeah.
Put it into our account. But
Now,
we don't have any wood.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Now, that is the wise, and most nonprofits will have that as a policy. When you get the stock, you cash it out that day. But there are, like Emory is big enough, they have enough money managers and sophisticated financiers. They may run with it and just take the stock to see if it'll go for a ride, or if they think it has a downward, you know, trend line, then they'll sell it. So you know, the larger you are, the kind of more latitude you're willing take on these decisions. Let's just say a stock is given to an organization. What is, on X day, how do you determine the value of that stock?
Close of the day of business at 3 o'clock.
Taken as an average.
It's the average. What you would do is take the high of that day and the low of that day and average it. And that's going to be the value that's, that you're going to get that the tax basis is going to be based on. Okay. This is there's a marketing end to plan giving. That's something that I am more versed on. But there's also a banking end to plan giving. And there's some specificities that Calder can give you that I just can't dot the I and cross the T's. But anyway, let's look at some do's and don'ts. Do have a plan giving program. Don't defer it. If you want to initiate yourself into a plan giving program, you don't have one yet, buy some Sinclair Towns brochures, that talks about tax-wise ways of giving and the advantages, and put that in an envelope, and then you have a plan giving program. I mean, it can be something that is simple as that.
And if you don't have it on your website, that's another thing that we have plangivingcenter.org. It can link and we can make it look like your theme and everything, but it's updated constantly. You don't have to worry so much about it. But that's another thing. You can make sure it's on your website.
No muss, no fuss. And Calder's great at keeping things up to date. Calder spends most of his time, he says, correcting legal errors, on these plan gifts. I mean, it's just amazing how much, incorrect things happen that he's having to spend time correcting. Do believe that your program will be cost effective. Don't think that the program has to be expensive to succeed. Don't think that you have to wait 7 years to show results. A lot of times plan gifts can be money down. Do get board approval and participation, just like we did at the cathedral. You raise money from the inside out, even plan gifts. Decide what types of gifts you will accept and promote. It may be you're too small to offer a charitable gift annuity, and you don't want to push it. Develop guidelines. Do educate people on financial and estate plannings. Again, there are a lot of wealthy people who don't understand the advantages of giving appreciated stock. Don't make the mistake of asking for a smaller outright gift when you could get a larger plan gift. Do consider having staff ask for gifts as well as volunteers. Do spend more time with people who are single or married with no children. And do follow up. Do cultivate your estate planning professionals, but don't expect too much of them. Okay. If you have a plan giving program, you're going to want to have a direct conversation with brokers and financial planners, bankers, and just to say, listen, we want to inform you of our case for support. And if you have some clients whose finances you're responsible for, if you have some clients who have a charitable orientation towards what we do, please inform them about what we're doing. And because, you're in front of people all day long. And if somebody has a heart for children, and they are planning their finances, planning their wills, please send them our way. Now, but don't expect too much from them, because they have some, some interest in that dynamic as well. But I think, we want to take the high road on these relationships. A lot of time organizations will invite, a lot of the financial planners in just to have an event that's nice, that informs them about the, all the great work that you're doing, and you just got to trust that, we're sowing seeds, and just hopefully it'll find receptive ears somewhere down the line. Okay, let's look at administrative guidelines on page 66. Guidelines like policies, procedures, forms, and manuals, we talked about that. And again, a lot of these things can be kind of handed to you en masse, and we can there's a lot of boilerplate to this, and of course you will want your committee to do the fine tuning. But, there is, we have something called plan giving in a box, and it's kind of just boilerplate that you can, massage and have it the way you want it.
You guys have policies and procedures, you can buy a package or something?
Yeah, just makes you love America.
One thing we find a lot when we're working with clients, sometimes we'll have a client who is a Baptist organization or whatever, and their investment policies say they can't invest in anything to do with alcohol, that sort of thing, but yet they're investing in Delta. Well, Delta serves alcohol. So, I mean, these little things that may come up, you have to always be kind of looking at your policies and see what they say, and what is acceptable. Maybe you could say % of alcohol sales or something to make it a little bit more flexible.
And that would be an investment policy.
Right, investment policy,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Another thing that we offer is, our brochures, but a lot of people will buy our copyright so that they can put that language in their own newsletters and things like that. And so that makes it pretty much seamless thematically and organizationally, and but the copyright is there for you, so you don't have to rewrite this stuff. It's just ready made for you. Okay, so let's just say you set up an endowment. What kind of reporting are you going to give to the person who gave you that money?
Controlled by the language in the endowment.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is, I would want to send an annual report to the donor just to say, thank you so much for your gift of $50,000 this year. We're proud to boast that we have your named fund. This year, the derivative income, we were able to yield 6%, not 5%. And these are the names of the kids that benefited from your financial generosity, Now, it had benefited a program and not the kids. Now, by the way, a lot of times universities will invite the kids who benefited to write the person. Now, that goes a long way, with you have a what? Yeah. So, but let's just say you give to a program. Let's just say it's a cardiac program. You're going to want somebody from the cardiac program to write just to say thank you for your generosity, and we were able to do these additional things that we wouldn't have been able to do if we only relied on patient revenues, because margins are so thin, and it's philanthropy that really moves the needle forward on healthcare delivery, things like that. Okay. Let's see if I've left out anything. Okay. Again, because at a calendar year end, a third of all giving comes in the last quarter, so you've got some skew towards giving at calendar year end. It's always good to promote plan giving in the last quarter. And on page 74, you have kind of a sample letter that emphasizes the importance of giving your gift before year end. Now, this is not a planned gift. This may just be, somebody gave to your direct mail program in September, but you're asking them during this holiday period, as you think about all the gifts that you've been giving. We're asking you, we're grateful for your gift in September, but we're asking you to make a calendar year-end gift as you consider year-end giving. So they write in a check. Tell me what designates the timing of the check. Let's just say it was mailed on December the 28th. It was received on January the 4th. What determines what year that check will be considered?
Postmark.
Postmark is the postmark, okay? All right.
In doubt, you can always go to the post office and have them stamp it the day you mail it.
Yeah, yeah,
I do my taxes, that's what I do.
yeah, just to make sure, and then take a picture.
That's right. Handing it to the mailman.
Yeah, that's right, no mistakes, okay. We talked about page 75, don't write a check, give stock instead, if they have that. Okay, I think we've kind of spent about almost an hour and a half on plan giving. This is nothing like you can get, in a 2-day seminar, but hopefully it's enough, it's passable for Fundraising 101. And you have a sense of how we can use tax-wise ways of giving to benefit the donor, benefit the organization, okay?